everyone, it's Elizabeth Stephenson with New Direction Family Law. Thank you for joining us today. I have with me Tina Kinnan, who is with Simply Thrive Therapeutic Services and Associates. And we want to take this time to talk a little bit about sort of a lot of topics, I think, today. But first, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your practice.
Sure. I'm Tina Kinnan. I'm the owner at Simply Thrive Therapeutic Associates. We're in Cary. We're located by the Carytown Center. And so it's pretty convenient to 64 and 40. And there are 6 of us in the practice. We see kids starting at 0 to 4.
Okay.
And we all the way up. And we have services for parenting, for behavioral issues. We have services for substance abuse.
Okay.
And we even have it for sexual addictions.
Okay.
So we have across the board.
That's great. I think sort of what I want to start off with is everyone who walks in my office or initial consultation, I generally, because it's a stressful situation, encourage them to be in some sort of counseling or therapy and their children if that seems to be appropriate. What are there certain things that they should be looking for in their own lives that maybe say to them, oh, I do need to go see someone and talk this through?
Yes. So we put together a little brochure for you as well. So when you're here, you can pass this out. But a lot of times, one of the things that we see a lot of times is when people get stressed, they go to old habits.
Right.
So you're going to have people who are possibly drinking a little bit more. They're smoking more cigarettes. They're overeating. So you're going to see those addictive behaviors come to the surface.
Right.
So we absolutely want to have somebody evaluated if you're seeing that. It's normal to have a little bit of that, but when it's excess and it's creating issues in your life. Sometimes people act out sexually, or they are acting out with anger. If you're having changes in your diet or sleep, those are the main things that we definitely want you to. Or if you're having a lot of thinking, a lot of overthinking, which is definitely impeding the other areas of functioning.
Right.
We definitely want to have an evaluation to see what's going on, and sometimes it's just a few sessions that are helpful to kind of work through
that. And sometimes that's all really folks need, but the issue that we have is if you're over-medicating, self-medicating, or you're having racing thoughts and you can't concentrate, it's hard for us as attorneys to help advocate for them because we need their help to help them get through the process. So leaning on you guys and helping them helps us, and in the end, I think if we get them a better outcome, then things are better for everyone.
Absolutely.
So that's always a good partnership, I think.
Absolutely. And then we can also help with, if there's a bigger issue going on, figuring out and uncovering that if something else is needed. It's hard, a lot of times people are coming in here, have children, and it's hard to parent and to co-parent with people when there's substances that are in the way.
That's right. And then just, if you're separating, then there are issues. The two people that had these children are having a hard time communicating, and so we co-parenting, whatever you want to call it, but what can you say about that, and why is it so important for parents to sort of work through that process and get to the point that they can co-parent their children?
So a lot of times people are getting divorced because they don't get along.
Right.
And this is the trick about parenting is it's so detrimental to the children to have parents who are fighting.
Right.
And there's actually, kids believe the parents are going to get back together if they're fighting. So it's sending a mixed message that they're trying to separate, and then the kids believe because there's still energy, there's still connection.
Right.
I'm sure you've heard that saying, the opposite of love is not hate, it's a difference. So as long as there's hate going on, they believe there's still a connection, and the kids are confused.
Right, and it doesn't have to be, I always say to my clients, a lot of them say to me, oh, the kids don't know, we don't do it in front of them, but they're in the house. Kids are really smart and intuitive, and they pick up on that, whether it's body language at an exchange or, not talking and shutting down, those sorts of things.
Absolutely, and they're going to mirror those behaviors. So part of this is also checking in with the kids. It's the statement of kids just don't know. A lot of times, even kids as young as 2, they're very aware of their circumstances. Kids understand something's different.
Right.
So they may not know that you're arguing, or they may just sense that something was really tense. So they will respond in turn. So sometimes it's getting them in, sometimes it's stepping in and just learning, having a few sessions to learn how to co-parent together.
And do you do that together with both of them?
We can, or we can do it separately.
Okay.
Sometimes you start out separately and then we work to getting, we want to, you can have different rules in two different houses,
right.
About, electronics and things, but the basic ideas we want to have be on the same page.
Right.
So parents aren't talking about each other to the kids.
Right.
That we're having some, that we can express that one kid got in trouble at one house, and if the other parent doesn't want to necessarily enforce that, that's fine, but that we're communicating it
with each other, right?
That we're having those conversations, because the kids are aware, and they're going to, especially when you get to teenagers,
right?
They're going to figure out how to divide.
That's right. It's like, let me see what I can do here.
And then you start getting those acting out behaviors in teenagers.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the younger kids. A lot of parents say, well, they're too young, they don't need anything. You guys start from 0 to 4. I mean, that's your youngest group set, right?
Mm-hmm. And usually with the little kids, we're talking about a lot of parenting skills, working with ways that they can teach the child how to self-soothe, work on appropriate ways for them to communicate. My 2-year-olds don't know how to communicate verbally very well.
Right.
So, when you get somebody that walks over and bites you, which is, something that happens, we have to be able to give them language.
Right.
So we're spending a lot of time working on that.
Okay.
We'll start some parenting workshops soon. Right now we have a couple of groups that are going on for different things. We actually have a social skills group for the 8 to 10-year-olds going on right now. So this is actually going to start in November. So if people are interested in that, our child therapist Laura is gonna do that. So let's talk a little bit about teens, because when we go to court and we get a custody order for 14, 15, 16-year-old, generally the judges sort of look at it and say, you can't make a 16-year-old do what a 16-year-old doesn't want to do. So how do you help parents encourage that child who thinks they know what they're going to do, and an adult, sort of, how do you encourage them to see the other parent if they really don't want to? Well, I think we need to figure out why they don't want to,
right?
And figure out, get underneath and really listen to the teenager and say, what is going on? What I see a lot of times is the kid gets mad at the parent who's still there, because they're really mad at the other, but they're afraid that parent's going to leave.
Right.
Again.
Right.
So they can't be mad at them because the one parent's, lived in the house. And it's not like they left them, but it's in the kid's mind.
Right.
So they're really angry at one parent, and they're projecting all of it onto one.
Okay.
So we really sit down and say, let's talk about this as a whole. Let's talk about it as a family.
Right.
And especially with those older teens, when their way of acting out is anger.
Right.
Depression in kids comes out as irritation.
Oh, okay.
So you could have a very depressed 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 15-year-old, and they come across as irritable.
Okay.
And it's depression. So what we want to do in those scenarios is allow them the opportunity to express what's going on, and then work together. And it allows, we want both parents to be on board to say, it's in the kid's best interest for them to learn to get along with their parents.
Right. Do you find, actually, I have a couple of cases right now where the child does not want to go to the other parent, and starts acting out, gets very anxious, gets wound up before he has to go, and then one parent sees that and sort of comforts, but also gives attention to it. And so sometimes I think that children they may not want to go, but then they're getting attention on the other side for acting out and doing
negative attention seeking.
Yeah.
Yes. I say a lot of kids' behavior stems back to little kids. So when you've got a 3-year-old that's throwing a temper tantrum and you give them attention, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up with kids who figure out, if I do this, you're going to get attention.
I'm getting something out of it, positive out of it.
So what we want to do is reinforce that the behavior of what we want. So we're reinforcing and we're saying, totally get it. I want to give you a hug.
Right.
We don't want to discount. If there's a reason the kid doesn't want to go to the other house, we're not going to force them into this. We want to look at what the behavior is that's the issue, and then we want to help reinforce by saying, okay, when you come back, these are the things we can do, or here's some fun things you can do at your other parent's house.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, but sometimes you and I live in two different worlds. So if one parent would file what we call a motion for contempt that says they're not bringing the child over, my court sometimes you have to force them to go, and that puts a parent in a very bad situation. It puts a child in a bad situations. But getting everyone together, helping them work through that process, can sort of take some of that tension out and help them move forward. Right.
The idea is to reinforce to the kid the behavior that we're looking for. So the one parent might be like, I totally get it. I don't want to be with the other parent either. And so it's looking at and saying, is my kid in danger?
Exactly.
Absolutely, they're not doing things the way I want them to do it, or we'd still be married.
Right.
So it's not it's taking that out and understanding that we're doing what's best for the kid.
Right.
And that can be the hardest thing that we can do as parents, is what's in the best interest of the kid.
Right, and that's our polar chart too. So I think that, if I sent a client to you, you would be on board and understand that that's what's needed, and that's what we feel too, is let's do what's in the best interest and take ourselves out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell folks how they can get in touch with you and some more information about contact and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So you can reach out to us. The easiest way is to either call us, and we answer all of our calls within 2 to 4 hours.
Oh, great.
Business hours, that is. You call us at midnight.
Yeah,
It'll be a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
2 to 4 business hours, we get all of our calls returned. And if you have extra questions or you need other supports in the community, we will help you research some of those. So you can call us at 919-869-5301. I just gave you my personal cell phone number. Let's try that again.
Nobody will remember that. It's okay.
Let's try that again. 919-636-0762.
You are dedicated.
Don't call me on my cell phone. Okay. You can also reach out to us via email, which is www.simplythrivetherapy.com. And we actually have a way, so if it's midnight and you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email, and it's a secure email. It'll go to our secure emails, and we can get to you a lot of times quicker. Because if you've got people walking in or different things going on, I can answer an email much quicker than I can
pick up a phone. I agree with that. And I just wanted to say, you brought us some brochures today, but it's conflict resolution, emotional support, co-parenting, coping skills, stress management, minimizing the impact on the whole family, and toddler and child therapy. So if you're going through separation and divorce, or even if you're not and you feel like your children or you need some help therapeutically, these folks are fabulous. So please reach out to them, give them a call, shoot them an email. And thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.